happening.
And I'm a Pythonaholic. It's not that kind of meetup. No, this is the Salt Lake City Python meetup. If you're looking for the PHP meetup, we're not that, but you're in a better place, so don't worry about that. A little bit about myself, a little bit about the meetup. I always like to do some quick introductions here. Everybody had pizza? Pizza was good? Did we run out? No, we have plenty left? Okay, sweet. So if you're a college student, you just got free lunch for the next 2 months. So, yeah, this is the Salt Lake City Python group. I am the little founder here. Ken and Joel are here, so I can give the whole story. We started in Sugar House 5 years ago. Wow, it's 2019 already. 5 years ago. And this is because nobody likes to drive south during rush hour, apparently, on I-15. That's a thing. And I say that, but, you know, you're here, so giving a talk to boot. But yeah, there's lots of little Salt Lake City Python meetups. Our purpose is to foster the tech and Python community in the Valley. There's also Utah Python North. There in Logan. It's run by that guy. He's also my dad, so... Yeah, Salt Lake City Pie Ladies. Let's move on before he starts talking. I'm just kidding. It's okay, Dad. There's lots of dad jokes from this section.
Yes, always dad jokes.
Pie Ladies. Anybody from Pie Ladies here? No, not this time. Well, Pie Ladies are an awesome little group around town. Anybody can join the Pie Ladies. They're a very open group, but they're more focused on women empowerment in coding. There's also Python at the Point, South Valley. Yo-Yo. They are in Canopy, right? Mm-hmm. I have a sneeze, but it's not coming out. Okay, we're good. Python Provo is now part of Python at the Point. Girl Develop at SLC is more of a language agnostic and workshop-focused group. They're always looking for people to give workshops about that. The Data Engineering Meetup, who goes to that? Anybody? A few people? Hi. Their next one is... When? Anybody know? Okay. Oh. PyData is another meetup group.
Yeah, 23rd.
Are you a part of all these groups?
No, these are all these are various like other programming groups that are better than mine. So I like to put these here. Salt Lake City Devs. Somebody just pasted that in there, probably. What up, Chase?
Buddy.
So Chase and I chatted in November, was it?
Something like that.
Or beginning of December, and Chase wanted to reboot the Salt Lake City developer. They are language agnostic. Chase, you want to take it away?
We're going to talk about code stuff.
Nice. Any date, time?
Next Wednesday is our first reboot meetup.
And location?
It's on meetup.com.
That's the website, but where will it physically be?
It's going to be at their office.
CN Solutions Group is the name of the company that's going to be hosting it.
Sweet. And where is that?
It's off of like 54th South.
It's in Murray.
Murray.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
There we go. See, I learned the hard way because I work for a team and we do like calendar and booking stuff. by the way, datetime, it's the least helpful library, because here's the thing. You realize something, is that a datetime is actually 4 dimensions. Okay, you have to actually have a location too, otherwise it's nothing. It's like, okay, this thing happened. Like, who gives a shit? Sorry, pardon my language, but websites, slcpy.com. That one needs a little bit of love. utahpython.org needs some more love. GitHub repos. What we'll do is we'll fork off of our repo for like what we're working on, or if somebody gives a talk, we'll just fork it to there. It's kind of an index of all the talks. So, for example, when Nick gives his spiel, did you post stuff on GitHub? No? Well, we can post it somewhere then.
Sure.
But if somebody does bring code, because a lot of people bring code examples, we'll go and we'll just fork it onto there. Yeah, and if anybody wants to contribute to slcpy.com, we also have that repo is hosted in that organization. Pardon me, I'm looking at a tiny screen right now, so bear with me. Sponsors, Pythonistas like you, thank you. PBS Music and all that. Xmission, Matt, you want to give the spiel, or shall I?
Oh, you are so good at it.
Sweet. Xmission is your local, organic, friendly internet service provider. They won't do deep packet inspection on your stuff. They're not going to charge you overage fees. They're awesome, okay? Xmission is your local source for internet. They have been funding, it's like a year and a half's worth of our meetups now. They've been sponsoring the pizza. So the pizza is brought to you by Xmission. And the raffle prizes too. So speaking of which, we got a lot of raffle prizes going on. So the books this time have been sponsored by Xmission. Thank you. So I got some beginning Python books so that, if you want to try something new this year, got some beginning stuff. And yeah, so let's see. University of Utah for the venue.
Another plug for Xmission. Best customer service ever. Any company, any utility ever.
University of Utah gave us the venue. Meetup.com now officially sponsors us, which is kind of cool. So I don't have to pay a meetup fee anymore. So that's nice. Might be because I work at Team, which is owned by WeWork, and WeWork also owns Meetup, but we won't talk about corporate takeovers. Tech Systems has been an on and off sponsor. They will be helping us sponsor the soiree. They're great. ConsultNet is also great. Shay, do you want to take it away?
Sure. We have a lot of clients all throughout Salt Lake and Utah County. Whatever you want to do, whatever you're into, let me know and I'll try to match it up if you're actively looking. If you're passively looking too. But I can say for me, I won't bug you if you're passive, but be careful with recruiters that tell you the same thing, because not all of us will stand by our word. That's my little plug.
Okay. They're chill. That's what I'm saying. If you've ever been contacted by a recruiter. So their raffle prize they threw in is this card. Okay, it's this business card with Shay's details, and it comes with a Raspberry Pi kit too, but there's this business card right here. It's all about that. Yeah, that is gold. I think, use this card right, you might make more than just a Raspberry Pi. And then Shay also has some good business cards to give out, of course. No, but seriously, they sponsored these awesome kits. This is the Model 3 B+, by the way, so anybody who follows Raspberry Pis closely knows that this is like the creme de la creme of. This is the 2020 Toyota Tacoma of Raspberry Pis right here, okay? Comes with the starter case, it has a 32 gigabyte drive ready to go, has a power supply. You are good to go with this guy. Okay, all you need is computer to code it on. Actually, I think this one comes with whatever what's it called? Pybian, I want to say Pybian, but I know it's not that. Raspbian, that was it.
I think you just need a keyboard.
Yeah, you literally need a keyboard, or you can just use your phone and SSH into it if you're clever. But yeah, or if you have an Android, you can just plop it into Android and edit some files and then set it up. So you're pretty much good to go with this guy. Yeah, awesome kit. Thank you so much, Shay. Yeah. New sponsors always appreciated. All of our expenses and sponsorship is public, so you can just go to that link right there. And you can be like, Ferris, how much money are you spending on these books? I'm like, well, it's right there, okay? Yeah. And what we like to do with intros is we'll talk about new members. Before we do, yeah, we'll talk about that in community news. I have like an agenda. I'll stick to the agenda, okay? So new members, basically, you're new here, and I already saw you raise your hands. You're going to introduce yourselves, okay? So, for example, hey, I'm Ferris. I'm a senior back-end janitor at Team. Okay, see, that's my introduction. And my New Year's resolution is to not be a janitor anymore at Team. It's to actually work on new stuff. So that's my intro. And I guess exercise, whatever. But it's January. Come February, I'll be like eating all the cookies. So who else is new here? Boom, this gentleman's going to bravely kick it off.
I'll bravely say my name is Lonnie Schneider. My occupation is I'm an assistant professor at the U, and my goal is to get some grant funding to fund my research.
Nice. That's a good 2019 goal.
And then get some exercise out.
Are professors allowed to do Kickstarters?
Yeah, we have a startup fund, but it goes fast.
Yeah? Kickstarter. He has a Kickstarter, everybody. No, I'm just kidding. Sweet. Who else? In the back.
My name is John Magnuson. I work for Shasta Beverages. We make sodas. I want to just learn to code and become a programmer.
Nice. I dig it. You're already halfway there. You're like drinking the same stuff we do, so.
I don't drink that crap.
just FYI, this is live and broadcast to Shasta headquarters. No, but we are live, just FYI, in case you're breaking any NDAs. It's out there in the public for everybody to see. I heard a rumor about like news. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, who else is new? How about right next to you?
Natalie, and I work in technical support, ignorance and that kind of stuff. And I'm learning to program because I don't want to do technical support. I want to do creating things. So.
Boom. Talk to me after this, because if you are willing to get poached, I know that at Team we take our level 2 support people and we put them into QA. We kind of have like a streamlined track for that now. And from QA, they learn how to automate the tests. And we are streamlining one of those people who jumped from support to QA. Now she's learning how to do programming with us. So talk to me after. And yeah, we'll get you out of tech support, because I know like too many people in tech support, like especially at X Mission, their tech support. It's awesome, but man, I'd hate to work. Oh, hey Matt, hey, how's it going? All right, who else? Over here.
I'm Alyssa, designer, and I want to learn how to program.
Alyssa, designer, wants to know how to program. Well, you're in the right spot, I hope. I'm getting to learn the program talk, so maybe you're not in the best spot, but you're in the right spot. So, who else? Right here is gentleman.
James, I work at Tesla, so we do a lot of the automation for VBA, right? The team. My New Year goal, I've been like learning myself, and I want to get out there. Need some people to do this.
Nice. Electric powered code. Who would have thought? Anyway, this gentleman.
Hi, I'm Blaine. I just moved to Utah. I'm working as a web developer. This is my first week at a new job.
Nice.
My goal is to make things and make things better.
Nice. Welcome to Utah. Welcome to the Valley. You're in the right spot. Where'd you move from?
California.
Another refugee, everybody! We get one every month. It's great. Right behind you.
I'm Carrie. By training, I'm a pyrogeographer, so I work with wildfire on a spatial scale, and I'm currently working with the Amplifier mapping program, and so I'm a developer there, working with Postgres and Python. I have a pretty good like geospatial and R background, and so it kind of needs to get into that Python realm. So.
Sweet. What's your New Year's goal?
Inspiration and income.
Inspiration, income.
Inspiration and income.
And income, nice.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you say?
And looking to make more income.
What was your title again? Pyro what?
Pyrogeographer.
That is the most
That's the
badass title that has ever come through here. That's awesome.
And
Just
his name is Fire Unicorn.
that's sick. I am going to be giving you my card in a second
Any
because
fire
that's
questions?
awesome. That's awesome. You should give a talk about like some of the stuff that you're working on after you learn a bit of Python because
Yeah, I
that
was gonna
sounds.
say, give me 6 months in this job and
Yeah,
if
let's-
wildfire's going in July, oh boy.
Yeah, I was going to say let's chat later because I have some crime data that I use Python for, but you could like if you know R, then you could just be like, oh yeah, this is just like R for babies. Like this is Tinker Toys, Ferris. Like what are you doing? So, man, that brings a whole new meaning to heat map. Okay, I'll stop. Right next to you.
Yeah, I work with James over at Tesla, just automating processes and operations, working billing, and our tool of choice is 30 years old, right? We gotta do a little better, and so that's why we're
Your tool of choice at Tesla is more than 30 years old.
Yeah, because when people think Tesla, they think sexy, and that's true for all the revenue centers. We work in cost centers. That's no different from any other large company, right, where cost centers get zero love. However, the cool thing is that they are in fact very open, so as long as we bring a better solution to the table, right, so that's what we're trying to do.
You just need to have one of your graphics in your next slide deck about upgrading the call center to have like a roadster in space and somebody calling from the roadster saying like, my car won't start, I think it's too cold out here. So. All right, what are your New Year's goals?
It's more of a long term. I started rowing last year and I really liked it. And,
Rowing?
I did a million meters in
Nice.
like 4 months, and I'm gonna try to do 3 times that this year. See
Nice.
what happens.
That's cool. That's really cool. All right. Who else? Right in front of you.
I'm James, computer engineer by trade, doing multidisciplinary things that changes constantly. And then New Year's goal is try to socialize a little bit more within such a workaholic.
Well, look at you. You're here. You've already achieved your goal. We will see you next year, right? No, I'm just kidding. No, welcome, welcome. This is a great group. All right. How about this gentleman with the beanie?
Alex.
Oh, the other beanie. Oh, both Alex. Oh, hey, Alex. How's it going? Alex, you go ahead.
Okay. Name's Alex. I work at Team with Ferris. I'm in the technical support team. I'm trying to be more involved and go out to these meetups and kind of code by myself. Don't really go out to these meetups that often.
Nice. Are you trying to pull off a Tolina? Tolina was the reference that I was making.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, so Alex is on our tech support team, and look, see, he's being proactive too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, sweet. And what's your New Year's goal, Alex?
Try to come out to more of these meetups and eat less pizza, which I already failed at. So.
Eat less pizza. That we will not help you with. So. All right. Who else was new? This gentleman.
I'm Devin. I clean data at a health data company, and for my New Year's resolution, I'd like to make better data visualizations.
Excellent.
Data janitor. Data disinfector. Even. There we go. I think I'm just gonna retire and come up with awesome titles for people. But I feel like I've been like topped now. Like, I want to add pyro to my name. Pyro engineer.
It's Pyro Ferris.
Pyro Ferris. Anybody else who's new? Haven't introduced yourself? This gentleman.
My name is Vidal. I'm actually a student up at here at U.
Nice.
And my New Year resolution is wing it.
Wing it. I like it. I like it.
Well, we know where the pizza's going.
My barber told me that his New Year's resolution every year he's achieved it is to survive. So, all right. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about. Okay. Well, my mouse is not in the right spot. Sorry. 1 sec. Click. There we go. Computers, am I right? I feel like everybody who's like good at programming is just terrible with computers, and that's why they became programmers. It's like, I could do better than this crap. Oh wait, no, I can't. So who's hiring? Team's hiring. Team will be like always hiring for the next year, from what I understand. They're trying to ramp up and hire, what was it, like 100 people or something ridiculous?
Yeah, just the engineering.
Just in the next half.
Yeah.
So Team does workplace management solutions. We were recently bought out by WeWork. So yeah, you get to go to any office in the world, any WeWork office in the world for free, which is kind of cool. Yeah, lots of opportunities there. Check out the team.workable right now. This link might get updated, and if it does, I'll update it in here. Canopy. Nick, do you want to talk about Canopy?
Canopy, we do software for CPAs. We're revolutionizing tax and accounting, and we just built a new building in Lehigh. So
fun. Some Lehigh. Oh yeah, WeWork will have an office in Lehigh come March. So you might have seen ads for it randomly, but yeah.
Where is Team?
Team is still going to be downtown, but like the actual like WeWork office where you can go and like work with other people, like anybody can, where you pay for a desk or something. I don't know the whole business model yet. Okay, I'm learning. That's going to be in Lehigh. There are a few others, but I can't disclose where they're going to be. But they are going to have a big. They'll have a big presence in the Valley and actually in other parts of Utah. So it's pretty sweet. Sweet. Who else is? Anybody know of anybody else hiring in the Valley right now? By the way, beginning of every month, if you go to Hacker News, just Google Hacker News, they always have like a who's hiring, and so there's a thread up right there if you're ever looking. A lot of those jobs in San Francisco though, so who wants to do that, right? Right? Yeah, exactly. Anybody else know of anybody hiring though in the Valley? Oh, Shay. I'm just gonna write talk to Shay. Okay.
There you go.
Did you raise your hand? No? Oh, you did.
This summer, I may be hiring a couple programmers to start a project.
Sweet. Talk to Lonnie, was it?
Yeah.
Talk
I'll give you more information.
to Lonnie. Okay. Who else?
Amazon.
Amazon?
Yep, we've got an office in Sandy now. They're looking for everything, software development, guys, girls, people, humans.
Do you need to pass their like testing first or whatever?
Yeah, that's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Go once and twice. There's probably a ton of jobs that are going to get posted in the next couple of weeks as people are coming back from the holidays. So, yeah, let's talk about who's looking. Dr. Louis Shabib. He always puts doctor there. I don't know why he does that. Dr. Shabib?
I earned it. I earned it. 5 years. I earned it.
Doctor?
Thank you. Doctor, future doctor.
Okay, and he's used up his time on that. So, so his info's right here.
That's my info right there.
Yeah. Caleb, where's Caleb?
Caleb's remote. He just said he's.
Oh, right, Caleb's remote. He just pasted his thing. And then Chase, I left your thing. You still looking? You want me to delete this?
Still looking. I like to write code. Let me know.
Chase is a code writer. Okay. Anybody else who's looking? If you are, now's your chance to stand up and introduce yourself again. No? Yeah. Okay. If you are, just a reminder, if you're looking for a gig or something, you can always feel free to message us. But if you want to post like that you're hiring, then you need to either come here or message me first just to, before you post it in the Meetup channel. So just let people know that. It's just a general rule of thumb. You might see like somebody post something, hey, I have this offer, and then you'll see it get deleted and then re-added right after. It's just because we have to check for any discrimination in the posting. So for example, like if you are part of a major religious organization in the state and you only hire people who are recommended by this major religious organization, unfortunately it goes against our code of conduct to post that in there, but you are free to come here and spread that word of mouth. You just can't post it on our page. So that is the most PC way I will talk about that incident. Community news, soiree. So next month is going to be a little bit different. February is a little bit shorter, and it's cold, and it's also our anniversary of our meetup. So what we do is we have like a fundraiser soiree thing. It's totally non-code. It's probably going to be at Mellow Mushroom. We eat pizza, we drink beer, and we talk about like code stuff and network. But it's not going to be any talks or anything like that. If somebody would like to do a workshop, though, we can definitely set one up like in the middle of the month. But our normal meeting time for February will be replaced with this soiree. It's a lot of fun. I highly encourage you to go. Tickets are going to be really cheap this year. Like last year, I think they were like $20-something, and this year I'm aiming to get them less than 15 because we have a lot of sponsors this time. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, you guys have gone, right? It's pretty fun. So yeah, this is, as I said, this meetup is like 80, well maybe I haven't said it tonight, but this meetup's 80% like networking, 20% code. But we'll get to code. Oh, thank you for updating that, whoever is updating. Boom. Registrations are here. Who registered for PyCon? Who's going to PyCon? Is it just me? Is it just because it's in Cleveland? Yeah. Cleveland is kind of weird. But it's an awesome, the location is right on the lake. So it's actually a really nice view. And yeah, there's a lake in Cleveland. Who would have known? It's a pretty great one.
It used to be. It used to stink.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fun. I applied to speak at PyCon about how to run a meetup group, although as the night wears on, I'm thinking I have less and less authority in that matter, so we'll see. And then the SLC developer meetup's turning back up.
I pushed it up earlier.
Okay. Boom. And yeah, if anybody has any new talks or anybody wants to try speaking, here's a number of topics that we have that people have wanted to hear about. So just, by the way, this is linked in the meetup group as a comment, and anybody can edit that and just add your 2 cents. If anybody would like to speak in March, it's one of the best times to give a really good talk because you'll have like 2 full months to prepare. So if anybody's learning Python to do some fire stuff before it gets too intense, come on, you know you want to. It can even be a short talk. Anyway, talk to me, hit me up on Meetup, message me. If you're learning something cool and you just got started with it, like another nice thing about that is I will push you. I will message you and be like, hey, how's this thing going? And then you'll be like, oh crap, I haven't worked on this for a week. So then you'll work on it a little bit and then, yeah. So I will nudge you. So, all right. With that being said, let's take a 2-minute break. I'm going to just go drink some water and then I'm going to give my little talk right here. And it's going to be super short. And then Nick will give his spiel. So.
I'm going to talk about Async I/O. Everything I'm going to talk about is only in Python 3, so another reason not to use Python 2. None of this will work. Basically, Async I/O is a version of Python in order to run multiple things at a time, and I will kind of explain that. So right here, I'm actually mimicking a network call. This script is going to do make call. I'm mimicking a network call, and I'm basically picking a random number between 35 milliseconds and 1,000 milliseconds, which is about the average response time from your browser to hit a server and come back. So I'm kind of mimicking a network call, and then I'm sleeping for that long as if I was making the network call and printing when that network call is done. And I'm doing this 15 times, okay? So like I'm calling some service 15 times. And if I run that, you can see it kind of takes a while because every single one has to wait for the other one, right? So it took us 9 seconds to make 15 calls. But programming is about being efficient, right? And the cool thing about network is your computer can definitely handle more than one network request at a time. And typically in Python, you could do that by using threads, but threads are actually really difficult and have all sorts of other issues that they introduce. So instead, we're just going to turn this entire thing asynchronous, and I will kind of tell you, I will just kind of do it before explaining how it works. But we just tell Python that these functions are asynchronous, and then we have to use the asynchronous version of everything. And then that's pretty much it. So we do that, and what am I missing?
You gotta wait and see.
Oh yeah. Missing one. I don't think that was it. That is recorded though. Oh yeah, I have to actually tell Async I/O what I want to run. So yeah. Okay. So now you notice it's the same. Good job. We made no changes.
Yeah.
No. So what's happening is we're actually, because of this loop, we're telling Python to still do one at a time. So what we actually need to do is make a list of network calls to do. For those who don't know, I'm making a list comprehension right here. And then we are going to do await async IO gather on calls, which is basically telling it to do all of them at the same time. So if you do that, you can now see it does all of them, and it's only as slow as the slowest response. So that's pretty much it, is we're taking all of our network, we're taking all the things that it would do, and we're starting them all at the same time. So if we add a print statement here of started, and then let's put like a number in here so you can see. We'll also introduce f strings for you right there.
Fancy.
And then if we put in the I right there, then you can see when everyone starts and everyone stops. And you can see that they all start right away, and then they actually finish randomly based on how long that individual task actually took. They don't finish in order or anything, but they definitely started in order. See that? So it's basically Async IO. I have a lot more if you guys want, also open for questions.
Can you run that without async one more time now that you can see the numbers?
Async? Yeah. Oh yeah. So let's just do it. Well, if we just do it this way again, it'll be about the same.
So what's await mean?
So, yeah, so when we do it one at a time, you can see it's just doing one at a time. So basically, in a sync world, you are basically telling the computer when you want to halt programming, when you want to halt running that specific function and allow other people to run. So basically, the computer's coming in this method, and it's running it one at a time, and as soon as you say await, you're basically saying, I'm going to wait for this guy to be done. And until that guy is done, go ahead and do something else while I wait. So an example of this is imagine you're like a secretary, right? And you have a bunch of things to do. If you were a normal program, if you were a asynchronous secretary, you would like make a phone call and they put you on hold and you just sit there on hold waiting for them to be done. But if you were asynchronous, you would sit on hold and do something else at the same time, and then as soon as they're like, oh, okay, we're ready to talk to you, then you'd focus your attention back to the phone call. So this is very similar, is it's actually using operating system level things to like say, wake me up when something on this socket happens, and until then I'm going to go do something else. Yeah?
So 2 questions. Is there like a limit? So right now we chose 15 for demonstration purposes, right? And if I need to do this at a level of like 10,000 of these, like, would that be crazy?
Are you in Linux?
No, it's not crazy. In fact, this is one of the biggest reasons why you would want to use asynchronous over normal threading, is because if you were actually going to use 10,000 threads, there would actually be a lot of CPU thrashing, because the CPU itself is trying to save state and grab state of all the threads all the time.
But this is just keeping track of.
But this is entirely in the language. The CPU isn't doing any of it, because the language is telling it exactly what to do. And so it's a lot better. So if you have like a web service with lots of connections, like you're building a chat app, async is way better than threads, because you can go really, really large, because you're not actually using an entire thread per thing.
So my second question to that is like, could one use this library not just for URL calls, right? But for like, if I'm trying to solve different parts of a big puzzle or something, right?
Yeah, I think I hit a memory limit, but that's okay.
Like, I'm trying to think of a good example where, let's say I'm trying to execute multiple stored procedures, right? And I know there's one that takes like maybe 3 minutes, and there's other little things that maybe can be, just a few seconds, right? Can I use this to make those different calls to run those sort of procedures?
So maybe. So what it really boils down to is async is good for network or I/O. It is not good for CPU-bound tasks. Okay? So I'm just going to kill it. I can't kill it. Okay. It's actually stuck in the loop. The problem isn't async I/O here. The problem is I'm iterating over a really, really large loop. That's why it's slow.
Your max is 524,000?
Probably.
I think on standard Linux. That's what they'll give the user space. If you had a higher PID, I think it.
Anyways. Yes.
Are you running Ubuntu?
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
Arch. Arch? I think
Okay.
it's the same thing with Arch.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess one thing we could do that would be totally stupid, but we're going to do it anyway, is we're going to write Fibonacci in asynchronous code.
Oh no.
Yeah, why would we not do that?
Explain as you write that. Like, when you said you needed a list with the make call I for I in range, what is that doing?
So this is a list comprehension. So you have a normal for loop, right? So for I in range 15, and then let's say I have a list calls equals an empty list, and then you would do calls append make a call. That's what I was doing, and then Python shorthand says you can delete this whole thing and just start the list like that, and then you delete that and you put this in the very front. So we'll put the bracket there, you put this in front, and there it is, except you don't actually need this append because it's making the list for you. So that's just Python shorthand. For
repeat that to calls. That's what you initiate calls,
Yeah, so I'm actually instantiating a function every single time in the loop. Okay. So if we do Fibonacci, right, Fibonacci is basically return myself minus 1 plus myself minus 2. And then you need your base case, right? So if I in 1 or 2, return 1. Right? And we're actually going to start this at 1. Okay, so that was actually really fast.
Well, you didn't need to add to the previous statement.
Oh, these don't actually return anything, but it's still the same.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It works. I'm just not showing the results, but it was really fast. Anyways, if you were to actually do this, like with a good number, Fibonacci of like 25, this is a bad idea. Oh, 25 wasn't too bad. All right. No, not doing it. So, for those who don't know, recursive Fibonacci is like the worst way you could possibly write it for performance reasons. So, it's significantly slower, me just bumping it from 25 to 40. Because it's doing everything, it's like in factorial or something. So yeah, it takes forever. Anyways, asynchronous Fibonacci is actually slower than normal Fibonacci. Because we're adding in all this extra stuff with the asyncs and awaits, and it's entirely CPU based. So the reason I say that is because you were asking, would my thing be faster? If it's very network intensive, then yes. But if it's CPU intensive, like you're actually processing data on the CPU, then Async I/O won't really benefit you much.
Waiting for an event is the way to go.
Yeah. If you're event driven, like you're waiting for things to happen either from the network or you're doing a lot of network calls.
Oh, I see. There's other cases that if whatever you're doing is transaction based, where like if you're creating something and then deleting that same thing, you can't do that asynchronously because it has race conditions. So be careful with those.
Yeah, so what's great about Async I/O is you can do those still asynchronously in a single function, because you would do await one thing, and then you would wait till that's done, and then do await another thing. If any of you have used like JavaScript or whatever, this is actually really hard to do. You have to like add a callback to a callback to a callback. But with this, you just say await, and it basically tells Python, hey, I'm going to stop here and wait until that's done, and I'm not going to execute the next line until it is done. Which is why that former example, when I just added the awaits, it still ran one at a time, because I actually told it, wait for the first one to be done before starting the second. And gather is what actually told it to start them all at the same time. Yeah. Yeah.
So talking about the race condition, can we add a locker, anything into the wait?
Yeah, definitely. So just a normal logger. So if you're just writing to disk, the latency probably won't be high enough to really matter. So if you just want to use the standard like 2-disk logger, it'll work fine. That being said, if you're doing like high performance things, there are asynchronous loggers that will write to the files asynchronously using the OS event system again. So you can write to files asynchronously using a different API. Yeah, like I said, Fibonacci written this way is terrible. Because basically every time you call a number, it's calling these. Every single time, right? We can actually change that by using, is it cache? Oh, what is that library? It's the cache one. Yeah, it is functools, isn't it? That's
that's the one.
Okay, so we'll actually kill this. Try it again. Max size. That's right. Okay.
So while you're writing this, let me just ask, typically if I'm trying to accomplish certain things, I'll Google like, what are the objects or the libraries that I can use for this? I'm guessing for Python it'd be very similar, right? Like if you're trying to, obviously you kind of just like speaking out loud and different people help you find this film font tool link for Lru Cache. Is there like, just shy of Googling like, oh, what is a Python library that can help me do this?
Probably Googling would be your best bet.
Yeah.
Oftentimes if you have like problems like trying to figure out how to write Fibonacci, you just Google Python Fibonacci and you'll see people go through 12 different ways of writing it, and it's kind of a trial and error and learning over time.
And also the word example or sample or template in your search is excellent.
Thank you.
So LRU cache didn't work because we're in async land. So there's a problem of async. Some of the things you're used to in Python might not actually work correctly. But basically LRU cache is just a decorator you add. You saw me do it. And it saves the return result from the input result. So if it ever sees the same value passed in, it'll return what you had already returned. So you don't actually run the full function again. But I'm going to mimic it right here. By basically adding my own cache. And so I'm going to mimic it. Now we're going to do the same thing with 45, and it's instant. And this technique is actually called memoizing. They're basically saying if I ever see something and I already know it's return, I return that. Because basically last time we were calculating Fibonacci 1 over and over and over and over and over again, and this time it's just saying, oh, I already know what that is, so I'll just return it. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
So how does Async I work? How does it keep track of the function calls?
That's a really great question. Do you want the short answer or the long answer? So basically there's a thing called an event loop. And it's essentially just a queue. So if you imagine a list, event loop, it's just a bunch of things in a list, right? So task 1 and then task 2, just the things in this list. And for those who know some deeper, darker secrets of Python, it's actually using a generator under the hood and sending the next with the send call, actually. But basically, it stores this task in its event loop, and it runs the task until the task hits an await statement. And if the task hits an await statement, it actually has a return value, and then it goes to the next thing in the loop. And it keeps doing that, and it keeps cycling through the loop until that task says, okay, I'm done. And then it will pull that one out of the loop. And then just keeps running over the loop indefinitely.
Are they called promises in Python?
No, that's a JavaScript specific term.
Yeah. They're called coroutines.
Yeah, coroutines, which is a more computer sciencey term, so more generic to every language. Yeah. So this is a dictionary, which is a key value lookup, and this is a list, which is just items in a specific order.
List can be referenced by number, like an index or
This is an array, yeah. A list is basically a dynamic sized array. Like a vector.
Dictionary is actually, you can assign a value to a key value to the value.
Yeah. So that's what this is. Assigning it to a value. Yeah. Great questions? Yeah.
So is a dictionary also a hash table, or are they two different things?
It is. Yeah. Okay. You guys want to see anything else? What do you want?
Well, it looks like you guys are ready to start Python.
Yeah, so I could
You always have to run your, so at the end of your Python script, you run?
Yep.
You always run Python script to run?
No.
No, so I just named this run to kind of be anything. But if you just define functions, you have to call a function somewhere, right? So initially I just had run calling my very first function. You could do something like my function. And then here, because we're in async land, we always have to start. Basically, you're in synchronous land, and you have to tell Python to enter the asynchronous realm. And so you have to run async I run. If I just do run without that, it'll actually give me an error. Say it was never awaited. It's like, basically, an asynchronous function is actually a doubly ran function. It runs it once to turn it into a coroutine, and then it runs it again to actually run the function. So this one is just running it the once to turn it into a coroutine, and it's like, now what? You never awaited me, so if that makes sense.
So this is a good theoretical introduction to it.
Yes.
What are some real-world applications of this?
So a real-world application that's very similar to this is O'Reilly made a really quick Python script where you can go download all their ebooks for free, but it takes like 30 minutes to download. So I actually rewrote it in async and did it in 3 minutes. So that's a real-world one. There's a lot of real worlds if you're doing like web services and you have really high throughput, like a lot of requests, or you're doing a lot of event-driven things, like you're calling more things or hitting the database a lot, or you're doing WebSockets, then asynchronous will help you reduce your number of threads needed to do those things. An example is we actually run our Python services in exactly one thread in production because async allows us to do it. We don't need more than one thread. So, yeah.
I think the canonical example of using async is a web spider, where you just have one URL that turns into many URLs. So
Yeah.
some of the better products to try to build if you're testing it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If the Asyncio gather,
Mhm.
does that return the array in the same order, or does it return it as it was returned?
Yeah, gather actually will be in the same order. So let's see if we can print results here. Back here. Asyncio, yeah. It's like the South American version. Yeah, so here you can see it's actually returning all the results in order. So gather will take it, return it in the order you specified. Yeah, great question.
So you were asking what you enter or how to run stuff. Generally, good practice is to put the code and then put something at the bottom called that way everything is instantiated.
So your functions are here.
And then run.
Yeah, so one thing I want to mention is at the beginning I actually changed all my time sleeps for Async I sleeps, but let's just throw in a time sleep just for starters, and you'll see it now takes forever to run. And that's because we've entered asynchronous realm, but we've never actually told it to stop executing our function. So the entire event loop has actually paused while waiting for this sleep to happen because it's not an asynchronous sleep. So if you're taking like an existing library and trying to convert it to async, there can often be some weird edge cases where like certain things are actually doing network calls that you don't realize, and those can actually stop your event loop. And if you're doing like a web server, that could be absolutely terrible because now you can't handle traffic while you're doing this one thing. So it is worth noting that like you should be careful with async, because once you start going the async world, you kind of have to do every single thing async. Yeah.
Sorry, I mostly from JavaScript, so
Yeah.
terminology. Is it called blocking to Python too?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a blocking function. It's blocking your entire program. So your event loop will not run, basically. Yeah, it's going to take a while. Great. Well, I can keep going. I don't want to keep you guys all night though, so.
Let's do one more example.
Let's do one more thing.
Can you kind of explain why is it import time, but then it's from func tools import?
Great.
That's a good question. That's it.
Yeah, so this is a top-level module. Actually, didn't that one. Anyways, so these are top-level modules. So when I'm importing, I'm basically saying I want that top-level module.
What does that mean?
So you have a library. That library has a name, such as random or time or functools. Module, library are kind of synonyms in a way. So I can import the entire module, or I can import a specific part of the module. So here you see I'm doing time.time. If I wanted to, I could actually change this to do from time, import time, and then it'll only import time from time and not the whole thing. And then I just get rid of that, and it'll just be time.
And then you just sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I could just do from time to sleep and just call sleep. So an alternative to this is I could have just imported functools, and then I could have called functools Lru Cache. So it's a thing called namespacing, where you can kind of define how you want it to look in your code.
And if you have more than one thing with the same name, you can use as.
So let's say I have two functools for some reason. I could change the name of it, and it would just be that.
Yeah.
So is it mostly just so that you can avoid writing out time.time? I'm guessing it's not a space issue, right?
No.
Have you used Java before? Well, Java is notorious for having the longest import names, where you have a factory that makes a factory that makes it. Yeah, namespacing was something that they knocked out very early on in the Python ecosystem. Just keep it clean.
Yeah. There's some other modules that are less common, but they actually don't import everything in the global space. Like they actually make you say from this, import this, in order to not execute that until you actually want it specifically.
Right. So you don't load it into memory, and now you have this massive thing loaded in your memory that you don't need.
So perhaps if you're very specific, then you don't bog yourself down, things will start running slowly.
Right.
Yeah, it's more of a memory constraint. If you're memory constrained because you're running on like a Raspberry Pi and you're doing something, you might want to be more specific with your imports, because then it'll only import the specific thing you want.
But this is one of the lowest levels of optimization. It's not. It's not like that important.
It's more about making your code look clean.
It's more about mental memory management.
Yeah.
Like for yourself, right? So code is for people.
So my last question: when you say import random, then how does it know we're random?
That's a good question.
That is a really good question.
Touching on some deep stuff, man.
Okay. So we're going to get crazy for a second. Okay. So there's this thing in Python called the path.
The path.
And you can look at it if you print out syspath. And these are basically just directories on your local file system. And Python, when you do an import statement, actually starts, this is a list in order, so it starts in order, and it looks in this directory for a Python module called that specifically. If it can't find it, it just keeps moving through this list until it finds it. And sometimes it doesn't find it because it's not actually existent, and it says, I can't find that.
Now, if it can't find that, you can install it.
Yeah, right. With pip, yeah. So random is actually built into Python. So how it handles random is actually slightly different because it's built into Python, so it actually just knows that it exists. But HTTP, for example, is not. So it would actually go through these directories and search for it.
Because you had previously installed it.
I had previously installed it.
Yeah. But there's a few built-ins, and they're all in the docs. And it'll say, hey, this is a built-in.
Yeah.
Async is now a part of the built-in, or async isn't even
Async
a built-in.
IO is a built-in.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. It didn't used to be.
No, it didn't used to be.
So sometimes things get so used in Python that they're like, this is cool, this should just be part of Python. So async is one of those things. It used to be you'd have to pip install it, and now it's just batteries included.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Oh, don't.
So, first, go back to what you were talking about earlier. So, with this is still that when Microsoft.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
I am using VS Code. I don't actually use it every day. I'm using it because it's much easier to present with.
Okay, now what point do we know, okay, we should step away from this code and go to command?
You will know, young Padawan.
Oh.
Just kidding.
You'll kind of be forced into it eventually, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be fair, like I code in VS Code pretty much daily, and I've been coding for like 15 years. You can do all your programming in whatever editor you like. That's kind of the reality of it. The command line's executable from VS Code, so I get
And there are times where you just want to separate them. So,
VS
for
Code
example,
have notebooks, or is it
Does it? Oh.
It's pretty tricky.
I literally started using it 3 days ago.
The
So
last can change, bro.
I know. New year, new editor.
When would you use it? Let's say you want to have two command lines open at the same time.
You could still use VS Code.
You could still use VS Code, but I prefer going to the command prompt on one. That way I know this is my server and this is my...
Yeah.
I also use my terminal to open VS Code.
A big one would definitely be, this is the obvious one, if you're logging on to a server.
Yeah.
So you'll have to be in the command line, although that's changing a lot with stuff like Heroku and Doku, which I've given a talk about, where it's just like, get pushed to my server and done.
So one of those Starch Press books was learning Python, was Automate the Boring Things, which is a good one. They kind of talk about command line later on, but the advantage to command line is everything you do via command line can be programmed. So when you're trying to like automate yourself, anytime you use VS Code to do anything, you now are the one doing it. But if you're doing a repetitive task, if you do it via the command line instead, you can now write a program that will do it instead. So that's like why the command line can be powerful, is because the command line itself is actually its own scripting language called Bash. And you can actually use Conch if you want to do Python. But the command line itself is its own scripting language, and even Python can call the command line. So anytime you use the command line to do something, you can now automate that task.
And command line versus PowerShell is...
Essentially the same thing. PowerShell is just Windows version.
Yeah. They're all just little languages to talk to your computer, basically. Everybody has their own little one. Bash is the one that you'll see in Mac and in Linux by default. Conch is one that's based on Python. Is that what you said? I never heard of Conch until now, so that's cool. And then PowerShell is one that comes in Windows, but if I'm not mistaken, they have Bash in Windows.
When you install Git for Windows, it comes with Git Bash, which is Cygwin or MGW. So
Or you can install Ubuntu on Windows, which will give you real Bash.
System for Linux.
Yeah. So
just use Bash.
And if you're old school, you use command line.
Just use Bash.
It's 2019. Don't be old school.
Cool.
It's awesome. All right.
We'll stop here, I guess. My Twitter is NHUMRICH. If you want to tweet me with questions or have any follow-ups, my DM is wide open.
Can you put it as a comment and then paste that whole thing in gist?
Sure. Now that it's not really the same code anymore, but that's okay.
That's okay. We'll mess with it. So here's another cool thing.
Paste it later. I don't have internet. I don't have internet. We'll paste it later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Nick, didn't you give this talk at some larger conference, like a talk on Async I?
Open West?
So I did this at Open West. I've also done it at the other Python meetup a couple times.
Isn't the Open West talk on YouTube?
No. They always tell you they're going to publish it on YouTube, and they never do.
So this talk is on YouTube.
No.
Now it is.
It is on YouTube.
Now it is. All right. Let's give Nick one round of applause. Well, that was fun. I think that's a great start to the new year, myself. I'm hoping that I had my audio on when so I just realized I had it muted, but I don't know when I had it muted, so we'll see. I know, oof. I know, right?
It's just mute. Read my lips.
There we go. 7. Okay, and by the way, here's my script working, so that makes me happier. It turns out I was on the wrong branch. I forgot that I hadn't pushed this up yet, but this is actually pushed as a separate branch on GitHub. But yeah, here you go. And as an example, this is a module level call, or sorry, this is a function level call, and this is the whole module. So I had to do utah.slcpython, and you'll see the module, and then you have to say utah.slcpython.howdy, and it is dynamic. So, and I added a little emoji here because Python 3 can handle that now, so I wanted to celebrate that. All right, what number did we get to? Anybody know? Who doesn't have a name tag?
Anybody not have any?
Because your name tag is also your raffle ticket.
23? Anybody higher than 23?
28.
28?
Mm-hmm. Well, it looks like it went to 29 on this. So anybody? No, that's fine. Okay, so we're at 28, and I'm 0. So how many people are there? It's 29.
Just do range of 29.
Or yeah. And we're going to import random. And we're going to do random.randint 0 and number of Pythonistas. And this is how we draw. Nick, do you want to peer approve my code?
Looks good to me.
Okay. That was a good peer review. No unit tests either.
I don't know if you have to test the standard library.
When I'm coding, you do. You want to hit enter?
Sure. Drum roll.
9, number 9. Sweet. You can either come on down and pick your gift. Oh, we also have a smart robot, by the way. Speaking of raffle prizes, this is if you completely messed up Christmas this year with the kids. You can like throw this at them and be like, "See, I got you something." We also have 3 different books on starting Python and 2 Raspberry Pis. So this is a great one from novice to professional. This illustrated guide to Python 3 was written by one of our members, Matt Harrison. He's also one of your members. So.
It's actually the founder of the point.
Oh, did you? Oh, at the point. All right. You want to hit enter too? That's your second prize, because you get to draw the next one. Just right there. 21.
Blackjack.
Anybody? Okay. One more time. I got it this time. 5.
Oh.
Sweet.
Oh.
Did you get it?
This is a hot round.
Yeah. I set the random seed.
I got it. You were figuring out what seed would be best when I was speaking.
Which one would be good?
Good to what?
One of the things I want to learn is to do like user forms.
Oh, user forms.
Yeah.
A bit trickier. Let me see if there's a reference to TK in this one.
Oh, that's old school, looking up in an index.
Is there a Google search?
I'm sure.
This is a Google search.
Way slower.
He's still indexing the pages.
Google search, 1850.
I think this would be a good book. I don't know. Oh yeah, here we go. It mentions it for one paragraph where they talk about Python twisted. So
Twisted.
Yeah.
Which one would be more manageable?
Manageable, illustrated to Python 3.
All right.
Yeah, that one's solid. Sweet. You want to hit enter? Yes. Yeah.
Just like a champ, huh?
8.
Number 8.
That is a hot row. Chase, you're passing on the book? You want to hit enter though? He doesn't even want to hit enter. 25. No? Guess not. So many good prizes this month too. 22.
No, it's me. I'll pass too because I won last.
Well, that's okay. You can win more than once. Okay. Loop 23. What the heck? Hey!
There you go.
There you go.
It seems it's the first time there's always some women.
I know, right?
I'll try this one.
Sweet. And let's have you hit enter right there. Yeah. Nah, you can't win again. I know what you did there. 0 is me. I can't win. 2. Who's number 2? Hey!
I'm a spy.
You're a spy?
I'm a spy. I'm not allowed to tell you who I am or why I'm here.
Uh-oh.
Mysterious.
I don't know. Yellow box.
Yellow box, the Raspberry Pi.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Spy. 25 again, jeez. 23 again? This is the worst.
I'll tell you that much.
Hey, 24. There we go.
There we go.
You're passing?
Oh, come on.
22. Did 22 already go?
Yes.
It's random, that's what it is.
It's too random. Are we all seeing the same thing?
Look at the seed on this thing.
How do you look up the seed?
You do. So if you, the way you're calling it, it actually creates a new seed every time.
Oh, well then.
Should be number 3.
There we go. Okay, that's an actual new one, number 3.
Okay.
And the
No, we got a smart robot and a book. Sweet. You're welcome. This robot is very smart. It has a motor. Number 5.
Oh, that's me, but
You
I'll
can't.
move fast.
How generous of you. Number 20. There we go.
There we go.
All right. I will see everybody at the soiree, right? Yeah. Okay. And remember, at the soiree, I will just say this: 2 things. One, past things that have happened are not a predictive thing of future things. However, last year, every single person who went to the soiree got a Raspberry Pi kit. So we'll see how things go there. That one was just like one giant raffle at the end. Like, I think people paid, what was it, like $20 or something, and everybody got a Raspberry Pi. So it seems like a win-win. And pizza. So, yeah, thank you very much. I'll see you at the soiree. So we will not be meeting here in February, but I will see everybody here in March. Okay.
Is the date already posted on the meetup?
Not yet. I need to update stuff.
There is a Python library for your robot by Spartan.
Is there?
6. It's not very comprehensive, but it does do stuff.